today we're here in Venice and we're gonna show you around and show you 10 things to do if you're here in Venice for the first time.
Seems even off-season, Venice will always be busy. Doesn't matter what time of day, what time of the year you're coming, it is always busy. So be prepared to have really comfortable shoes and just be ready to walk.
Having lived in the local area for a little while now, one of the cool things is that you actually get to see Venice all throughout the year. And so you get to come here multiple times. This isn't just like the first time we've been here. So we've got a lot of experience here. And one of the things that we've noticed is, like Mariana said earlier, Venice is always busy. It doesn't matter whether it's the wintertime or the summertime. And sure, there are times where it's more busy than others.
July and August, nightmare.
Yeah, but it's always busy. So definitely have to be prepared for that when you get here.
It's not as enjoyable as you think it is.
I hope the action shows up on camera here, because it's like this boat is rocking.
Yeah.
Maybe you should come here not after you eat. Maybe you should come here before you eat.
Oh, this is just like the snippet of a gondola ride. It's only €2 to get you across the canal. But if you want to invest in an actual gondola, it's €80 for during the day, and it's €100 during sunset. But it's definitely an experience, and I think it's about 30 to 45 minutes, and they take you all along the beautiful canals, and you get to really experience that. How was that experience?
It was different. I love it though. I mean, we can definitely do that over and over since it's only €2.
Yeah. So, I mean, I think that was probably a great taste, whether or not you would like a gondola ride. So I would definitely recommend checking this out, especially if you want to get some of the shots in the canal and maybe you're on a budget, you don't want to drop €80. So this is a great alternative. We must have been to Venice probably 24 times now. And I swear, every time we come here, we discover something new. Like we just found this one casino that's been around, I guess, for 400 years. First time, never even seen the building.
It says over there, 1638. That's a long time. Okay, so this is the Ponte Rialto Bridge. This is probably the biggest, oldest, and most popular of all of the bridges here in Venice that cross over the water. And this isn't even in peak season, but it gets packed. And oftentimes you're gonna have cops trying to direct traffic so people don't sit here for long periods of time, because you know, people like to take selfies and like to call their friends and show them everything.
So a lot of people like to go on top of the bridge to get like nice views of the canal. But if you want great pictures with the bridge, you can just jump on one of these docks really fast and get a really nice picture. I mean, it is beautiful. Of course, when you visit Venice, you have to come to St. Mark's Square. Honestly, you can do a video probably alone on this historic square, but today we're just going to kind of mention it, and we're going to visit a place here. But you have the beautiful basilica, you have 2 or 3 museums I think you can mention here. You have countless shopping and pretty good restaurants. They will be a little bit overpriced because, you know, you're dining next to some history, but it is definitely a place. It's great for photos, for videos, and to just kind of relax, take some pictures, and enjoy the scenery. But let's go to one of the oldest cafes in Italy.
So this is the Caffe Florian. It is the oldest cafe in Italy. It's from the early 1700s. And honestly, how many times are you going to be able to say that you've ever been to a restaurant or a cafe that's been around for several hundred years? So let's go check that out.
So that cafe is definitely on the pricier side, but how many times can you say you've eaten at a, what, 300-year-old cafe?
Yeah, that cafe is from 1720, so it's just over 300 years old. And honestly, it was €63 for the whole thing, so we definitely want to let you know that. It was pretty expensive, but at the same time, it's probably one of those things you're only going to do once while you're here in Venice, so it's a little bit of a splurge, and we thought it was worth it.
I mean, it feels like you're kind of eating inside of a museum. Each room is like very decked out. It's very golden. The tables look ancient. The service is phenomenal. And a lot of the time, especially in the summer, they'll have live music here. So I think it's just definitely, especially when you're on vacation, it's kind of one of those nice splurge cafes. So when you're walking in the square, you may notice these two red columns that stand out. I learned that they used to actually announce death sentences for politicians here, and they used to actually hang people from here, and they would leave the bodies hanging for quite a few days as like an example of like not to betray the Venetian government. So that's kind of interesting. I don't think a lot of people even know about that, but it's just a little hidden history right there.
Okay, so this is another palace that you can visit. There's plenty of them all over Venice. This one is about €8 if you're willing to go down that route. But as you can see, there's quite a few steps. So if you're looking to get some exercise, definitely check this place out.
So it is very normal to get lost while walking in Venice. A lot of the streets and canals are not on the maps, and the reception here is very spotty. So when you're trying to get somewhere in a certain amount of time, definitely you have to add extra time because you most likely will get lost.
Okay, so we had to improvise because the restaurants here are really, really tiny and there's barely enough seating even on the outside. So if you want to get a really good restaurant, be prepared to stand somewhere outside. So that's what we're doing today. We got white wine and the cicchetti. So I'm not exactly sure what these are, honestly, but I'm not going to complain because the food here is usually pretty good if you get the right place.
So definitely one of the things we recommend you guys do when you visit Venice is do a cicchetti, like a cicchetti crawl almost, because there are dozens, maybe even hundreds of these little hidden little bars that have amazing little sandwiches and wine, and everything's local and really cheap. And this is kind of like what the locals do. So you definitely know you're getting a bang for your buck and you're getting a good quality.
So I think we're waiting to go out to the terrace, and we're in this little holding area, and sometimes I can't tell in these areas whether there's construction going on or this is just modern art. But either way, I guess we gotta wait.
So this terrace is free to get to, but you do have to make free tickets reservations in advance. For tourist season, I would recommend probably about at least a week ahead of time, and you only have 15 minutes up here.
So our 15 minutes is almost up here, but the one thing I have noticed though is despite being all the way up here, it's actually quite quiet, even though there's all these people around, compared to when you're down there. You can hear all the people talking and stuff like that. It's much louder, but up here it's actually quite nice and peaceful. So this is definitely a recommended spot.
So it's very common to kind of come to a dead end in Venice when you're trying to find a location. But in Venice, a dead end ends in water.
Okay, so we came here for lunch and I just ordered 4 things because it was really crowded and I didn't have time to read what anything was. I just went with my gut and about half a liter of wine. So there's not even a label on this thing, so hopefully I got the right thing, but we'll see.
This is a seafood lasagna. Not in my life have I ever had seafood lasagna, and it's so good.
So we just got done eating at this place here called Seppa, and it's a baccari, which is a place that serves cicchetti. These are the little tiny bites. They're kind of like tapas. Maybe you've seen those before. And
the Venetian tapas.
Yeah, Venetian tapas. It's really, really common here in Venice to have these little tiny bites so that you don't have to dedicate yourself to one whole thing. But They're called cicchetti, which is a plural form of cicchetto, which just means one, and they're served in these things called baccati. So if you can look up baccatis in Venice, definitely do so because they're outstanding. The food is great, and you don't have to eat a lot of food.
And it's cheap. When you're in Venice, of course you have to have gelato. So we got pistachio here with cherry, and you have to absolutely stop by this gelato place if you're visiting Venice. Everything you see here, everything we're eating and visiting will be linked down below in Google Maps. So you just have to open it up and you can have exact same experience as us. One of the questions we also always get, does Venice smell?
Yes.
No.
Yes.
I think it's kind of very fishy in some parts, but it's very like musty, especially in the summer. It's a little humid. He thinks it smells.
I think it smells like 50% the ocean and 50% the sewer. In some parts of Venice, it's more ocean, in other parts, it's more sewer, but I definitely think it stinks. However, it doesn't really take away from the charm. It's just something to note. Yeah, so these buildings look really, really old. That's definitely a church. That is a pharmacy. And I think this is either a hospital or a medical facility of some kind. So they've got them all attached to one another, but this building is clearly a lot older than the hospital. But it's just incredible. It's really hard to depict on video, but man, when you're there in person, it's just incredible.
So we are on the hunt for the narrowest street in Venice. So let's see if we can find it, because apparently it's a little tricky. If we find it, I will link it down below, but apparently it is so narrow, like one person has to fit on it on its side. So let's see if we can find it.
It's kind of interesting. So yeah, so this is the narrowest, I think, alleyway or walkway here in Venice. So it's very clearly not meant for more than one person.
It is shoulder to shoulder.
Definitely. So I was joking with the guy just a second ago saying, can you imagine trying to carry a couch or something through here? If you thought the hallway in your apartment or house was bad, this is way worse. And there are doors here, which means people try to get stuff in here one way or the other.
I mean, even groceries. It's also like probably at least 10 degrees Fahrenheit colder in here. And what does it end in?
Of course, another canal. Let me see if I can get down there. Look at this.
Yeah, this is why you need to wear good shoes in Venice. It's definitely not the cleanest water, but it is beautiful. Imagine this is back in the day where you just pull up on your boat and go home. This is your house.
So because it's so hidden away from the rest of the place, I feel like this is probably where teenagers who are trying to hide away from the public are gonna try to come and hook up.
1600 Venetian teenagers. So all these books are in a giant gondola. I don't know if I can put that on YouTube. I'm just looking at the gondola books right here.
Just the gondola books only.
We gotta keep this PG.
That's definitely not PG.
So this is where you see all those Instagram pictures. It is much, much smaller in real life, and it is a giant line to go get a picture there. So there's a bonus, we wanted to mention the water library. We've never been here before. I just never come to this side of Venice, but today we just kind of wanted to stop by. It's a very popular place. They have a great selection of books, postcards, calendars. But the area that you see on Instagram all the time, it is a tiny little square area, and it is, maybe if you have some extra time, stop by here and check it out. But it is very small, so be very ready and have your pose ready to go, because you have about 5 seconds to take that picture.
Okay, so that is the end of our video. I hope you enjoyed it. We'll definitely be back in Venice again sometime in the near future. So we hope you stick around and subscribe, and you're going to see a lot more of us in the future.
More Italy adventures. Ciao.